Okay, so I'm here with my dad, Brian. Now, Dad played for the New South Wales Blues, Waratahs Rugby Union,
Yeah, under 18s.
right?
But I played for Combined Country in the Wallaby Trials in 1962.
Have we got enough sound, Sam? You might need to speak up and project your voice a little bit. Sorry, Dad, I know you're a bit tired today. It's done a big drive. But so New South Wales country team in 62,
Yeah,
and you played for the ACT rep squad?
yeah, but I played a lot of ACT under 21s. I played for quite a few clubs in Canberra at different times.
You played with Steve Larkin's father over at Lynham.
Right, but
Who else?
it was funny. I first went to Canberra. I played rugby league and Australian rules all my life, but I didn't like either code in Canberra, so I looked around and thought, well, I'll have a go at rugby union.
Right, now you were in the very first ever team that ran on for the Tuggeranong Rugby Union Vikings, correct?
Yeah,
So you ran on the very first day that ever had a team on the field, you were on it.
yes, but that's the same true with Western District, or they were known as Lynham. I played for them in their very first game.
Right, and was Larkham in that team?
His father was in that team.
I know you didn't play with Steve Larkham. What's Steve Larkham's father's name? I've forgotten. Jeff Larkham. Okay, he's a nice man. I remember speaking to him regularly every time we played. My biggest memories of rugby actually is you in the change room playing for Royals and the smell of Dankarub and how friendly everybody was. Another one was where you played against the Japanese team.
Oh, that was a great game.
Yeah.
We had probably the most representative team that the ACT was called Actors. ACT
Is it spelled ACTAA? Actors?
ACTORS. ACT Old Rugby Society.
Yeah.
And the oldest guy on our team was Peter Scott, who was 41, I think, at the time.
Were there any internationals on that team or anything?
Oh, they were all internationals, except me.
Yeah, right. And it just reminded me that you used to be close friends with an international, Peter on the Gold Coast, that ended up being a physiotherapist living Peter Moore. He was a close friend of yours. But that's Brisbane rugby, right?
That's Brisbane.
And you used to play against Megsy Marr, Ray Marr from Home and Away, correct?
That's right.
Who did he play for?
He was a 5'8" for West. I think they call them Western Suburbs, but I only ever knew them as West. And it was quite remarkable. He got picked for Queensland to play against the Australian Combined Services team, who just happened to have Bobby Fulton as their 5'8".
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Bobby Fulton apparently, it was the only game of rugby, or games of rugby ever played, was for Combined Services. But he also had a wonderful halfback inside him who used to play for Balmain. And the two of them were just magical together, and he was Megsy on the other side. But
What was the name of the halfback?
I can't think of his name at the moment.
Okay.
But
But they were from the Balmain Rugby League team, but they were in the Brisbane Rugby Union comp. Is that right? Bobby Fulton was a rugby league player,
yeah,
right?
Bobby Fulton played for Manly.
Yes.
And in later years he went to East, but he was a spent force then.
But who did he play for when you were playing? You were talking about rugby in Brisbane then.
Right, but Bobby Fulton was playing rugby league for Manly, but he was chosen for the Australian services team, because he got called up for Vietnam.
Okay.
He didn't go to Vietnam, I understand. But anyway, Megsy was quite stylish. He was a good guy too. I actually met him. He came to my work one day. He was selling insurance, and I introduced him to quite a few of the people around the place. I hope he made a few sales.
Yeah, right.
I doubt if he'd remember me. I was just a winger.
No, he might remember that day
He might.
as well.
Oh,
I mean, you remember everybody, so he might too.
He might.
Yeah. I mean, you do have a particularly good memory for all this stuff, and I love that because I get to hear it all. when we go for drives and that. You tell me the stories. I'm just trying to think. One of the other my favourite memories in Canberra was you used to take us to watch Campese all the time. The excitement in the car. We're going to see Campese, kids. Campese.
That's much later. You also saw Michael O'Connor.
Yes, Michael O'Connor. Yeah, were you still playing then when we used to go out there? My memory's a bit confused that you were still maybe playing for Royals,
No.
but yeah. Right.
No, that was much later.
Much later, okay. All right, yeah, but right, and you played against Fiji international teams too, or Tongans. Remember, you told me the story that all the black guys came over and they're racing off all the women from the Lynham Club in groups of 3. Like they'd walk off.
No, that's wrong. This was at Brothers.
Brothers,
Yeah,
Queensland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A very favourite player of mine with Brothers was Epi Bowler, and Epi Bowler he was a breakaway, and a very powerful Fijian breakaway.
I know the name Epi Bowler. Was he international?
Yeah, he came back out here with the Fijian national team, and he was the captain.
Yeah, right.
And that's why through Epi Bowler they all turned up at the Brothers Club, and there were women galore. There were just women galore, and they were going apes over these Fijians.
And the Fijian guys were taking them off in, one guy with 3 girls at a time to the hotel room.
Yeah, well, we probably shouldn't talk about that.
I won't elaborate. Yeah, but
I don't want to say too much.
Stick to on the pitch with the football, I guess.
But Epi was just fantastic. Like there'd be a mall there with everybody packed down, and suddenly here I am way out on the wing, and Epi just came out like this with his ball and sent it like a gridiron pass. I'd wind up halfway up the Ballymore stands.
Yeah, right. A really fun moment for me was one time we went out to the National Library in Canberra when we were living there, and we looked up all the old newspapers from. You were playing in the Canberra comp in the 60s, is that correct? In the 70s?
61 I was playing juniors. 62 was the year of the Wallaby trials. I played for Royals. 63, 64, 65, and then 66 I went across the line. And I really started to enjoy my rugby. Like up until then it was a game and everybody took it very seriously, but Lynham had a laissez-faire attitude, and it was good. It was good at training. We all had MGs.
Yeah, right. Can you expand on you were a Wallaby trialist. What did that mean back then?
Well, they had a team from Western Australia, from South Australia, from Victoria. They had Queensland came down. There were 2 teams from there was North Harbour and South Harbour in Sydney, and then there was Country 1, Country 2, and there was Sydney Subdivision and Sydney's 2nd Division, I think they called it. But it was pretty interesting.
So I've lost what you're talking about. There are all those teams and you all played against each other.
Yes.
And it was considered trialling for the Wallabies.
That's
and you were all
right.
invited to be Wallaby trialists?
That's
or
right.
Was anyone able to be a Wallaby trialist, or was it invite only
No.
for particular players from particular clubs?
You were selected.
So you were selected to be a Wallaby trialist. Yeah. You trialled.
Yeah.
And then are you happy to talk any more about that, or should we leave it at that you were a Wallaby trialist?
No, I think that's enough.
That's enough. Fair enough. Okay. He didn't play for Australia. He should have played for Australia, undoubtedly. But we'll leave it. I'd like to leave it at that. I'm feeling uncomfortable there.
Just one point there. The next year, I was chosen as a reserve, and the Australian selector come up to me and said, "You only had to take the field when you were in."
A reserve for the ACT?
No, reserve.
Or for Australia?
No, reserve for country.
All right, so you were a reserve for country, and if you had taken the pitch, the selector told you...
I'd have been in Australia.
I would pick you, but because you didn't take the pitch, they couldn't take you on a technicality.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Okay, that's sad.
He said you only had to take the field.
Fast forwarding to
and
my...
They took some guy, a twin pair called the Boyce brothers.
All right.
Stuart and Jim Boyce. Good wingers.
Who's your favourite rugby union player for Australia of all time? Do you have one?
Oh, Ken Catchpole.
Ken Catchpole.
He was halfback for Randwick.
Okay. You really loved Horn and Little too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, they were good. They were strong. They were very. Catchpole was just genius.
Okay. Okay. Do you mind me keep asking these questions, or would you prefer to just talk and because I've got I'd like to know a little bit fast forwarding to when Stephen was playing football. My understanding was he was given a choice: play for Australia or go and join the Defence Forces, and he ended up playing for the Australian Defence Forces. Did a selector say to Stephen, make your decision now because we want to take you, but what are you going to do? Go to the Air Force or whatever? Is that a story that...
No, that was a different thing. He was offered a scholarship with Wasps in England, WASPS, and they were leading a competition in England, a very famous team. And he had the choice of going to Wasps or joining the Air Force, and of course he wanted to fly jets.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But from then on, he played for the services teams.
And when Stephen played Stephen played for the ACT as well, didn't he?
Seconds.
Seconds. Oh, right. Who was around when Stephen was playing football? I remember he used to play against Ricky Stewart when Ricky was playing for St Eddie's Rugby Union.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he played against Stewart a few times when he played for Vikings.
As well. Okay.
And he played against Campese.
And David Campese played against Campese. Wow. Yeah. And Michael O'Connor was playing rugby league by then, though, right?
Oh yeah, he was up in. He was with Manly.
Yeah. Okay. I've got so many questions. It's so much fun talking about this. And then there was the boy Ferner. Stephen used to play with or against him, and he ended up playing for the Raiders. And now did he coach the Raiders?
Yes, he did. His father was the coach of the Raiders.
Yeah.
And he went on later on to coach the Raiders.
What's the son's name? I forget his first name.
David Ferner.
David, and what's the father?
Don.
Sorry, I'm name dropping because that's how I like talking about this.
Don Ferner was the second row for Queensland, and he played for the Kangaroos.
Okay.
But I don't know much about his representative play, but I saw him a lot in the Riverina because as a kid I played for Wagga Magpies and Wagga Kangaroos whenever they were short of a player.
Wagga Kangaroos was Aussie rules?
No, Wagga Kangaroos was rugby league.
Rugby league. And
Don Ferner coached Wagga Magpies, and Greg Haywick coached the Kangaroos.
Who were the Magpies? Rugby union?
They were rugby league.
Right.
They were in Group 20 competition, which was in the Riverina.
There's isn't there the Wagga Tigers, the Wagga Kangaroos, and the Wagga...
The Wagga Tigers is Australian rules. So I played for them.
Played for them?
Yeah.
And you were approached by selectors from different clubs then too to play in the Melbourne Aussie rules?
Just one.
Just one, okay.
Yeah, we had a pretty good side, under 16 side, and we'd won competitions year in, year out. And they brought down the Hawthorn under 15 representative team to play us. And that day, apparently it was one of their front men was there, came up and asked me, what are my plans? And I told him I had to finish off my schooling, and I never heard it again. And the next day I'm playing for the Riverina Juniors, and Frank Facer from St George came up and asked me the exact same question, and I never heard from him again.
St George Rugby League. What you've told me those stories before, and what my hunch is that they wanted you to go, what do you want me to do? Or I'm in, or I want to come play for you or something, but you were like, yeah, I've got to finish school, and they probably thought...
I had to finish school, and that's the only thing I sort of...
Yeah, right. Okay, so which team were you with when you had to go to the Gold Coast and run up and down? Was it Talabudra Mountain and all that? Who was that?
Oh, that was Brothers.
Brothers. Oh, that was just pre-season training.
Pre-season training. Oh boy, it was tough stuff.
Okay.
Man, Talabudra, first thing in the morning.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah. it was fun.
Yeah. The next time we talk rugby, Dad, I'll try and be a little bit more organised because today I'm just like a son going, and Dad, do you remember this? And did it? And there's, I think I'm randomly just throwing stuff at you, and it might be stopping you from getting on a roll, talking about something or getting a point across that you want to get across about your rugby playing days and all this sort of stuff. But some of it is I'm just so interested in all too. But did I finish that story? We went to the library in Canberra. It was a really fun day for me, and we got up all the old newspaper articles about you playing in Canberra in the sports pages there, and it was just like every week. How many tries were you on average scoring a week?
Oh,
it was like
not many with Royals because Royals had a lot of good players, and they would break up the centre, and they'd want to finish it off. But occasionally I'd make my own break.
Yeah, right. No, but I just remember reading articles, and it was like it seemed you were averaging 3 tries a week.
No.
Was that when you were with Lynham?
That's when I was with Brothers.
Brothers in Queens? No, because it was the Canberra Times newspaper, and they were talking about when you were playing in Canberra.
No.
And it was like we were microfishing week after week, and Brian Abbey did 3 tries. He ran a length of the field try.
Yeah, there were a few of them.
Yeah.
I scored a couple of 4 tries.
4 tries in one game.
In one game,
yeah. Yeah, right. Try a machine.
Probably 5 or 6 times.
Okay.
But that's over 4 or 5 years.
Talking general athletic prowess, do you remember? Let's say the long jump that you did. You held a record in the Riverina for a long jump.
No.
What did you long jump that day though? Your best long jump day that you can remember?
I'd been in intensive training with a guy called Stan Spittle, who was coached by Percy Cerati, who was the coach of Herb Elliott. So the 3 months.
Herb Elliott.
So the 3 months of intensive training was intensive training, and I moved to Canberra shortly after, and wanted to do some athletics. So I went up there, and I hadn't been beaten that I could remember in the long jump. So they were calling for long jumpers. I said, yeah, I'll come over. And I jumped 21 foot 8 and broke the junior record. And then I jumped 21 foot 10, broke it again.
Do you know what that is in metres?
5 or 6.
Yeah, right. So it's a really big jump. How far outside Olympic?
But I jumped 24 feet.
24 feet, whoa.
That was the 3rd jump I had. But unfortunately, one sprint went over the board, and it was disqualified. So, but I know myself. I jumped 24 feet, and I brag about it occasionally.
And
that's a big jump.
Yeah. Were you a good high jumper?
I could jump my own height.
Okay.
Just scissors movement.
Yeah, right. What's your best? Do you know what your best sprint for 100 metres is, or anything like that?
Not great. 100. I never did 100 metres as a kid. I did 100 yards, and I was 10.05.
So you were lightning quick, in other words.
Oh, on the day.
Yeah.
On the day. Okay, quick. I was quick off the mark.
Yeah, right.
Always quick off the mark.
Yeah.
Which meant long jump was good for me.
So realistically, I believe with the right training, you probably would have been an Olympic athlete. Is that correct?
Oh, they thought I would be, and they gave me as a coach a guy called Anton Tessiger. And Anton Tessiger was the coach of Armin Hari, who was the last white man to win the 100 metres at the Olympics. That was the Rome Olympics, 1960.
Yeah, right.
So Anton Tessiger moved to Canberra, and he was my coach for a while. The more I coached under him, the worse I got at the long jump anyway. I never got anywhere near 24 feet again.
Yeah, right. Didn't you hold some records in the Riverina for athletics?
No, only at school.
Okay.
I'd win a lot of events.
Yeah. Okay, so
the guys would beat me, say in the 100 yard dash. I'd come second, and I'd come second in something else, and first in the high jump, always first in the long jump. And I'd also do the 440 yards and the 880 yards. And I'd get a place in that, so I'd turn out to be champion. And yet I was never a genius at any of them. But my funniest race was that I'd only ever run they call it 800 metres now, but the 880 yards. And there are all these guys I'd run it once before and I'd run 2 minutes 15. And I really didn't know anything about it. And we get there on this Saturday, and all these guys from Young and all around the district were saying how they'd run a 2 minutes 8 and a 2 minutes 9 and a 2 minutes 5. And here am I in my 2 minutes 15. And we did the first lap and I'm running last. And I thought, I feel okay. What am I doing way back here? So I sprinted. I ran at 2 minutes 4, which is pretty quick for an 800 metres. And I was 15. And I never got anywhere near that again either.
Okay, so where were your favourite rugby playing days overall? Where did you have the most fun? And
I was playing just at high school.
Okay, so it wasn't later on at Brothers in Queensland, I think high school, okay.
My best years of football was with Brothers. I enjoyed it more than ever. The camaraderie, there was guys like Barry Honan, I can't think of his name, Popey. He'll kill me if I forget his name. Mick Barry, Jeff McLean, the Bone Boys, some good players in there. Peter Ryan, Eppie, the legendary Eppie. Oh boy,
yeah,
what a guy. And I was up and down. They had a feast of good wingers there. I was sort of getting a bit old, so I played quite a bit of reserve grade as well. But it was just like playing first grade. They played the same sort of game. You call for the ball, you got it.
Mm.
So it didn't matter what grade you played in. But I never even played less than second grade.
I just remembered something. Peter Moore, the rugby international, is Stephen's godfather.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Yeah, I just remembered that.
Yeah. And another guy from Brothers is his other, Don Mackay.
Oh, did he play for Brothers, Don Mackay?
Oh yeah.
Don Mackay, I don't know what he's doing now, but he was the fire chief of, isn't it the Brisbane Firehouse? The city one?
No, he was, with the city one.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure of
He'd have to be retired now though, wouldn't he?
Not sure of the details there, but what wasn't known too much about Don Mackay, he was Queensland's fastest 400 metre runner.
Really?
Oh, he could run.
Wow, because as an older guy, because he's my godfather, right?
Yep.
Yeah, as an older guy, he was always a solid bloke that I always imagined was a prop forward. But what position did he play?
He was a winger.
He was a winger.
Yep.
Okay, and that fast.
Yeah, he's pretty quick.
Yeah, right. He's a fun guy. I like him a lot. He's always very fun with us.
I don't know how we would go up against in a 100 metre or 100 yard race or whatever, but I'd certainly beat him off the mark.
Yeah, right.
So that was my thing, was off the mark, timing, that sort of thing.
He's so humble and non-assuming. I did not know that about him. I didn't realise that he was that good. Yeah.
The thing about my game of rugby, and I still look for it, is I was taught 10-second rugby. And in the old days, it used to be 10-second rugby. If you're got any sort of speed, you should be able to run 100 yards in close to 10 seconds, which means for every second you're running 10 yards,
Whoa.
which means for 1/10 of a second, 1 yard. So all you had to do was get the opposite player off you for 1/10 of a second. Now that could be pushing the ball towards his face, what they call the in and away, anything made him go back like that for 1/10 or 2/10 of a second meant you're gaining that much distance on him.
That's how fast the game is if you're a back.
Yeah, if you're
that
a
level.
back.
Crazy.
So this is where catch pole was brilliant. catchpole, the ball would come out, and he didn't do this winding up business. He would just have the ball, and it would go, or it'd be sort of a dive pass. But it was a flowing movement, and he lost no time, which meant your 5'8" standing out there, he hasn't got somebody sitting right on top of him because he's had the ball quickly.
Yeah, right. Do you remember Stephen's reverse passes? Oh my God.
Well,
incredible.
Yeah.
Stephen's my brother.
I learnt that from a great, the Welsh halfback. Years ago, just for the moment I can't think of his name, but he used to be able to do a dive reverse pass. I said to Stephen, if you want to be a halfback or if you want to learn rugby, you've got to learn 10-second rugby and you've got to be able to do the reverse pass.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll ruin the audio.
Right. You've got to be able to do the reverse pass. And some idiot at Vikings, when they were televising Stephen playing, would criticise it. There's that pass again. And he's done a reverse pass. He's done it at the speed of light. It's gone straight to the fullback. No one anywhere had a chance of getting near him because the pass was just so quick.
Yep.
And this idiot would say, there's that pass again.
Yeah. And yet Georgie Gregan, that's why he got into the Australia team. Remember that day he did that really big try-saving tackle at the sevens. We were there that day at Bruce Stadium, and he's playing sevens for Australia. He did that tackle where he got under the ball and tackled the guy and prevented that try. But he also did that reverse flick pass that was so quick that they scored a try from it as well. So those reverse. But Stephen used to reverse flick pass. He had a hole in the fence in the backyard, and he used to just for hours and hours and hours be at one end of the backyard and just reverse flick, till he was bang in that hole every time. And so when he was doing those passes as quick as they were, he could throw them the full length of the whole field sideways and bang right in the chest.
They had a Royals over at Western, at the Western shops. They had this competition there one day where if you can pass a ball through this target, you would win a Royals jumper. And Stephen just stood there and went bang, bang, like it was from about 15 metres away. He just stood there and went bang that way, bang. And they said, take the jumper and go. Unfortunately, he wore it home and somehow or other got it dirty down at the park. And so it got washed and somebody nicked it off the clothesline.
Yeah, we used to get all our rugby jumpers nicked off the clothesline because we had a laneway next to our house, and I got my combined colleges rep jumper stolen and all that, and had to go and through word of mouth found out who had it, knocked on his door, got it back. But we lost some really cool jerseys off that line. Yeah.
Didn't lose any of mine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, when I was a teenager, I used to wear your New South Wales Rugby Union jumper around.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah, you probably didn't want me to, but
I probably didn't know about it. I've still got that jumper.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, right, okay.
That's about my only memory that I've got, a relic that I've got.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I got a couple of old programs. One interesting, when we came up with the New South Wales under-18s, it was the very first New South Wales under-18 team ever chosen. And they put us up against the Queensland under-19s. Now, we were under-18 by the 1st of January, and they were under-19 by the 30th of June. So they actually had 18 months of us. And some of the kids in our team were only 16. And we got up there, and we played on the exhibition ground, under lights. None of us had ever played under lights before. There were 16,000 people there, and when we ran on the field, we got booed. We got booed all around the paddock. And none of us had ever experienced that. Like coming from the country, you'd run on the field, there'd be a polite clap from the opposition, and when their team would run on, there'd be a lot of cheers. But there was never any booing.
That's horrible.
But yeah, here we were, pitch dark, under lights, 16,000 people going boo. And no matter what, if we made the slightest little mistake, it was all this laughing and going, oh, it was dreadful.
Do you mind if we leave it there today, Dad? Because I'm worried about it's gotten dark, we've lost light, and but thanks for doing that, and maybe like we can sit down and do this some more other days. Are you happy to
that's fun.
have a bit of I really liked it, so
You can put it in your book of souvenirs.
thanks, Dad.
Over and out.
Over now.